Hello and welcome back to Pin My Podfic. This is the reading of a new series from my poll of about a month ago that I put up, called Zutopia by Itslivybear. This one is a series that already has a podfic, but only, if I remember, it only has 5 chapters of it, and in total there's 23 chapters to this work. And in the future, I will be podficking multiple works from Itslivybear since I've already asked them about if I could, and they gave me permission. So yeah. Now on to the summary. Nedzu isn't fond of many humans, but he was rather fond of strategy games, one of which led him to meet a rather curious and interesting human with the username of Greenbean. He found himself looking forward to their games, until one day he got a shocking realization that Greenbean was not only a child, but a bullied one, and suddenly he had someone to protect. And if he thought the child had to take over the world in the process, well, he was Nedzu after all. And also, before we start reading the chapter, I'm now gonna give a voice act for every single character, but I will for Nedzu and maybe Zuka and maybe Baku and maybe Ochako. So yeah. Now let's get on with the chapter. Chapter 1. A case study in running a planet. Nedzu sat back in his chair with a hum, eyes darting over the screen in amusement. He had always found chess rather boring, simple in its complexity, and after thoroughly trouncing every opponent in Japan, he had moved on to other strategy games, though certainly less common than something as ancient as chess. One such game he was rather fond of was terraforming Mars. As the name suggests, you start with a red planet with no oxygen, low temperature, and no water or greenery to speak of. Through the course of the game, using cards and your corporate abilities and specialties, you make infrastructure to hopefully terraform the most of Mars and claim dominion over the planet. It can play several people, up to 5, but Nedzu always preferred a single-player or two-player game, despite 3 players being the most popular. It was a card-based board game, which translated well to the online mode, and each game was different. Of course, strategies could be utilized in all games, but the corporation you represented changed every game, and each had its own specialty and abilities. There were more in the expansions, of course, but some of the basic corporations were very exciting. For example, Ecoline lets you start with 2 plant production, 3 plant resources in hand, and 36 MC, or the game currency, at the start of the game. Furthermore, when placing a greenery tile, it will cost you 7 plants instead of 8, like it would for most others. Since greenery tiles directly translate into victory points at the end of the game, this corporation will likely focus heavily on plant production and greenery. Another interesting one is Invertrix. You draw 3 cards for free at the start of the game, where otherwise you have to pay 3 MC per card, and you start with 45 MC. Whenever a card has a specific requirement, like having the oxygen below or above a certain level, or the temperature or number of oceans, the requirements can be changed by +2 or -2 steps. Your choice. Surely handy for cards that have explicit requirements and you get starting cards besides. All in all, the game was different every time. Some things left entirely up to chance, and that was something that excited Nedzu like nothing else. Unlike in chess, where the most diversity you get is which side you play, terraforming Mars is different every round. No 2 games will be the same based on the luck of the draw or for the cards, even if the players played exactly the same way every time. It was simply fascinating. Plus, Nedzu quite liked the idea of terraforming and owning a planet. Space travel had declined when Quirk's first came along, so it was not something He was likely to have happened, but it was an entertaining idea. In addition, he supposed that being the principal of UA was a bit like terraforming a planet, cultivate the right environment and all that. He felt he knew many of the people who often played, finding himself playing at the same time every day in the hopes of meeting one specific player. More often than not, he did indeed find them. It was rare that people would end up in a match with him and not leave. At this point, taking one look at his username, redacted, and disconnecting, disheartening, sure, but there was one player, Greenbean, who always stayed and said, hi, colon parentheses, in the game text chat. In all honesty, he wasn't that upset that people didn't play with him because it meant he could go a few games with Greenbean again instead, which was always a treat. Even if Nedzu won, the games were very close, and the other player always gave fun reactions to actions in the chat, which Nedzu could not help but indulge. The person was very smart, and Nedzu enjoyed the time at the end of the day, when schools and most work got out, and he got to play with them. After several months, Nedzu would posit they were After several months, Nedzu would posit they were friends, or at least friendly, having talked a few times about curious science topics, some related to the game, some not, when Greenbean asked a question out of the blue. Greenbean, can I ask you a question? Redacted. Of course. Greenbean, how do I get my classmates to stop hitting me? And Nedzu stopped. There were a few things wrong with that. One, this was a child, someone still in school. He had guessed they were in late middle school or early high school despite their intelligence based on their manner of speaking. But to have it confirmed in perhaps the worst way made his heart stutter. Before he went into principal mode. Redacted. Why are they hitting you? Are the teachers doing nothing? Greenbean. I get in their way, I guess. And no, not really. Nedzu's face was carefully blank. Redacted. Green, them hitting you is not your fault. You know that, yes? Greenbean. I mean, Greenbean. If I didn't get in their way, if I was better at running, I'd probably be fine. Greenbean. It doesn't even hurt as much anymore, but I'm running out of things to tell my mom. His whiskers twitched. Redacted. Why aren't the teachers doing anything? Greenbean. Well, Greenbean. There was a pause. The game long since stalled, but Nedzu waited. Greenbean. I'm quirkless. Nedzu felt confusion at first. Quirkless? Certainly uncommon, but that meant that this child, and there was the anger again, was frighteningly intelligent all on his own. Anger came shortly after that thought. How ridiculous! Humans would try to find any reason to beat others down, even those of their own kind, and this child was kind, intelligent, and curious. All traits Nedzu was constantly looking for in students. Greenbean. I understand if you don't want to play anymore. Greenbean. Honestly, I should probably just keep to myself. Greenbean. I really like the games we did play. Nedzu pushed down his anger to reassure his gaming partner. Redacted. Why would I stop playing with you? Because of something you cannot control. Redacted. In addition, you are one of the only ones who can go toe-to-toe with me, and that's without an intelligence quirk like mine. Very impressive, Green. He knew the quirkless statistics. It was part of the reason he had lifted the ban on quirkless students, hoping that if UA led the charge, other high schools would stop the discrimination for a subset of people who were just as capable and arguably far less of a liability than most people. His snap twitched in amusement as the child immediately latched on to his quirk. Quirks have been a topic of them both, but they have thus far avoided talking about their own. Still, Greenbean had revealed their status. It was only fair Nedzu do the same. Plus, it effectively got the child off the spiral of negative self-worth without enforcing their school. Greenbean. Oh wow, that's pretty rare. Greenbean. And it makes a lot of sense. You're really good at this game. Greenbean. There aren't many heroes with an intelligence quirk, but I know Nedzu, the principal of UA, is one, and he's really cool. Greenbean. Does it speed up your mental process or make you better at retaining information? Greenbean. Oh, does it give you multitasking abilities? I know current research says most people can't actually multitask effectively, so that'd be a really cool quirk. But it would probably require multiple processing systems since the human brain isn't designed to handle multiple thought processes simultaneously. Redacted. There are actually other heroes with intelligence quirks, but it technically does all of those things. Redacted. Perhaps not the multitasking, as, like you said, it's not very effective, but my thoughts are indeed very fast. I am rather good at retaining information. Greenbean. That's so cool. What do you call it? Nedzu smiled at himself. Redacted. High specs, of course. Greenbean. Well, that's the name of Nedzu's. Do you have the same quirk as him? Redacted. I certainly hope so. Redacted. After all, I am him. He chuckled, glad to have gotten off the topic of the bullying, even if he would likely to go back to it eventually as Greenbean typed, then deleted, and Nedzu was more than patient with the response. Greenbean, question mark, exclamation mark, a lot of those. Greenbean, you're Nedzu? Greenbean, wait, is this a prank? Nedzu's heart fell. Redacted. I can assure you, it's not. If you would like, you can send an email, and I will reply with a code word of your choosing. Greenbean. Wait, are you sure? Redacted. Perfectly. Nedzu's, or I suppose my email is public knowledge on the UA website. Make sure the subject of your email your favorite corporation, perhaps. Greenbean. Okay. Greenbean. Oh, the code word is Greenbean. Katsudan. Nedzu smiled and tapped out of the game, opening his email and refreshing every few seconds until he got an email from one smaltmite08 at mail.yahoo.co.jp with the subject line Teractor, a nurse based corporation. The message was a simple hello, and nothing more, and he was quick to send back the given code word with a smiley face, tabbing back into the game as soon as it's sent. Redacted. Sent. Greenbean. Greenbean. You're really Nedzu? Greenbean. I've been talking to Nedzu? Greenbean. I've been playing games with Nedzu? Redacted. And won several times too. Greenbean. Oh, holy moly, I've beaten Nedzu before. Greenbean. At a strategy game. Greenbean. Okay, I can die happy now. Greenbean. Thank you, Nedzu, sir, for playing games with me. I know you're probably pretty busy, but... Redacted. Nonsense! I look forward to meeting you on the battlefield every evening. Greenbean. Oh jeez, I play video games with the principal of UA almost every day. Greenbean. Hang on, I'm going to need a minute. Redacted. On a different topic. Pterodactyl is your favorite corporation? Greenbean. Oh yeah, I like playing green Earth cards anyway. So, getting a cost reduction on them is nice. Plus, it's like an homage to home, right? Redacted. Quite right. I imagine the 60 starting cash doesn't hurt either. Greenbean. Oh, no, it gives me flexibility early game. Greenbean. If not, I like E. coli. Redacted. Ah, that would have been my guess from your name. You seem to favor greenery and oceans rather than cities. Greenbean. Yeah, I guess I do. Redacted. Tell me, Green. You know who I am. What can I call you? Redacted. Unless you'd rather I go with green like usual, or perhaps small might. Greenbean. I forgot to. That was my email address. Greenbean. You can call me Zuko. Greenbean. If you want to. Redacted. Of course, Izuku. And, of course, you can call me Nedzu. Redacted. Now, shall we finish this game? Greenbean. Oh yeah, let's. Nedzu smiled, tapping out briefly to put a request with the police for any files they had on a quirkless boy named Izuku. He was not going to let the question from earlier go unpunished for whoever dared to put this kind, smart child. There would be hell to pay. Izuku was freaking out, even as he placed another greenery tile. He thought. Nedzu was right. I do place a lot of greenery. God, Nedzu. He had been playing with Nedzu all this time. Sure, looking back, Redacted was a great player, and the best he had ever found at his tender age of 8. Having played this game for a few months by now, and the name fit the cryptic principal of the most prestigious school in high school in Japan, especially since no one really knew what he was, species-wise, and he refused to confirm anything, seemingly reveling in the confusion. He wasn't sure what had made him ask the question. Sure, he was being bullied at school. That was a fact that he was slowly starting to accept. No matter how much Kachan had been his friend for not 4 years ago, as soon as Izuku was revealed to be quirkless, that went out the window. He guessed it was because Kachan and the others had started using the quirks on him. It hadn't been as bad before. Sure, it hurt. He had been lying when he told Nedzu. It didn't even hurt as much as before anymore. But he was running out of things to tell his mom. Cuts and bruises were one thing. He could pass those off as being clumsy or playing too rough. But burns and minor stab wounds? The kid who could elongate his fingers discovered recently that if he grew his fingers really fast, they had a chance to puncture skin. Only about a quarter centimeter deep, still enough to draw blood. Like he was stabbed by a particularly vicious pencil. Were much harder to explain anyway. For now, he just tried to hide them, and the bullies were smart enough to avoid his face. But he had thought that maybe his smart and kind friend would be able to help him. He should have known he'd ask questions. They always did before they found out he was worthless and deserved it. But then Nedzu said he didn't. He said it wasn't Izuku's fault, which didn't make sense. At the age of 6, his teachers had inadvertently reinforced that what Kachan had been telling him. Quirkless is useless, and he deserved it. After all, why else would the teachers look the other way? even go as far as call Izuku for rallying up the other kids. It was his fault. But Nedzu was really smart, arguably the smartest person in Japan, if not the world. So he probably knew what he was talking about. He definitely believed what he said, for sure, unless it was a prank. But no, what would be a prank? Nedzu had humored him rambling about his quirk, and he knew Izuku was quirkless. Had even finished the game and offered to play another one besides. That wasn't something that someone would do, right? Sure, people had pretended to be his friend before, but he had proof that it was indeed Nedzu. Because he doubted even the best hacker could pretend to send an email from Nedzu's own. And he wouldn't even get to see Zuko's face when he revealed it was all a trick, since he didn't know anything about him really. Wait, he knew his name and quirk status. Was that enough for someone to find him? Probably not just any random person, but this was Nezu they were talking about. Almost nothing seemed impossible for the principal of UA. So maybe he'd find him just to tell him that what everyone else did. Sure, seemed like a lot of trouble to go through for some random kid, but then again, Zuko had been playing Terraform Mars with him for months at this point, since Nezu was never going to get back. Time Nezu was never going to get back. But he had called Izuku one of the only people who could go toe to toe with him, which was insanely flattering. Sure, he didn't win often, but he won every once in a while, and he imagined the feeling was like having friends, what having friends would be like. Pure euphoria. Maybe he could actually get a friend this time. And if it happened to be the principal of UA and his gaming friend, then no one could really fault him for that. And that's it for chapter 1. What was it called again? Chapter 1, a case study in running a planet. I really enjoyed doing Nezu's voice since as you all may know, my other fics, everyone is a man. I did not get to do high-pitched voices in a long time. And I sing in a choir, and I sing tenor with the boys. So I don't get to sing high notes really often, even though can. So it was refreshing. And since Izuku's gonna be like, well, this is spoiler warning, but he's gonna be like 12. No, he's gonna enter UA at the end of this. I think he's either gonna be 13, 14, or entering UA at the end of this fic. So his voice is gonna be pretty high pitched. Since yeah, and I need to drink something after finishing this. And it's gonna be a pain editing in one of the notification things for each message. Since yeah, it's gonna be a pain editing it in. But I will enjoy it nonetheless. So yeah, bye and have a good. Wait, no, not bye. Yeah, this is what. And go check out Itslivybear since this is their work. So yeah, now this is actual bye. Bye and have a great whatever time of the day. And as another podficker once said, go hydrate or die straight.